How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears how precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, taunts and snares, I have
you create a company that's like close to being a fascist, and then like.
Okay. How am I?
Sorry.
Let's go through this. How am I a fascist?
Dude, like
Can you name one thing I believe that's fascist?
you believe that like you on. Oh, shit.
Don't boo. Let him think.
But
I'm such a bad fascist. I let the people who disagree in open mic to talk to me for 2 hours uninterrupted.
Okay.
I'm an awful fascist. I'm more like a free speech liberal of the 1970s, not a fascist.
But I just want to say Turning Point USA is a evil company that was funded by thousands of fracking companies, and that just...
No, it's not thousands, but we do have some frackers that give us money. But
and then all it is making the rich more rich.
Fascism to fracking.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Okay, again, I'm happy to have a debate. I can see you're getting kind of fired up.
I'm sorry.
So, but why are we evil? Like, we're having a nice discussion.
Because
all of a sudden you're calling me like a
fascist. Because it seems like you just want the rich get even more rich. Like
we haven't talked about the rich at all. I mean, so you don't even know my positions on this stuff at all. And by the way, just so we're clear, the wealthiest counties in the country all vote for Democrats. You know that, right? 8 out of 10 of the wealthiest counties in the country vote for Democrats. The wealthiest people, absent Elon Musk, are all on the left. Jeff Bezos, George Soros, Mark Benioff, Mark Zuckerberg, Laurene Powell Jobs. On the left, yes. The richer you are, the more likely you are to be a Democrat and on the left.
Explain that to me, please.
The numbers speak for itself. The Democrats are the party of the oligarchy. Can you name one tech CEO outside of Elon Musk that is a conservative?
I personally think... Let me think. Peter Thiel?
Yeah, that's one. That's one. Larry Page, Google, on the left, worth $120 billion. Sergey Brin, Google, $130 billion on the left. Laurene Powell Jobs, Mackenzie Bezos, Jeff Bezos.
If they're on the left, what has they done that was like, quote unquote, to do the left stuff?
Well, okay, so Larry Page gives money to left-wing NGOs all the time.
Like, if you're on the left, I don't think you will ever be this rich.
Well, they are. You know why? Because the left
they're not.
No,
because they're not.
The left is a scam. The left uses
How is this?
Let me tell you why. It's a good question, actually. The left uses people like you that think that, oh, we're going to fight the rich. Well, they protect their oligarchy. While you guys have to keep on working hard and never own anything, when we conservatives are the ones that actually want to restore the American middle class and bring jobs back to this country.
How would you restore?
Let me finish. Let me finish. The left uses people like you every day, and they use people on you by the trans thing, the abortion thing. Keep voting for us because the fascists are going to take your rights away. When who's funding the left? The richest people. George Soros. Do you know who George Soros is?
Who is funding? Dude, I have never seen a leftist organization come to campus spreading their propagandas.
Well, because the whole university is a leftist organization spreading propaganda.
It's liberal. There is a clear-cut difference between a leftist and a liberal. Please make that
You're coming after this in a good way because I'll just say Democrat politics, okay?
Okay.
Almost every major, powerful, wealthy person in the country, over $100 billion in net worth, with the exception of one person, Elon Musk, is on the cultural left and gives money to the left. Mark Zuckerberg gave $400 million in the 2020 election to help get Joe Biden reelected through the Center for Technology and Civic Life. Mackenzie Bezos.
That helps his case, obviously. He would donate money to his...
Okay, but hold on. One second. Mackenzie Bezos with $45 billion, major Biden backer. Laurene Powell Jobs worth $20 billion. Steve Jobs' widow, one of the most radical left-wingers in the Emerson Collective. Mark Benioff from Salesforce worth $12 billion. One of the most radical left-wing guys that you'll see out there. The eBay guy, Omador, one radical left-wing. It's so important for you on the left. You guys are being scammed and gamed, because they talk a good game about building the middle class, but it is not the party of democracy, it's the party of oligarchy. And you can go fact check me tonight, and you might actually have cognitive dissonance. Type in this: wealthiest counties in the country, they almost all vote for Joe Biden. Who gives the most political donations to the left? All the wealthy people. Go look up the top billionaires on the Forbes list, the top 100. Only about 10 of them give the Republican, the other 80 give the Democrat, the other 10 don't give at all. It is mind-blowing when you realize the shift in power the last 10 years. Republicans used to be the party of the rich. You know what changed? We nominated a class traitor as our nominee, Donald Trump. As soon as Donald Trump became our nominee, all the billionaires said, we don't want him anymore. He talks about things we don't like. He wants to end the wars, close the border, bring jobs back to this country. We want to keep on supporting a political party that doesn't want any of that stuff. Explain to me how Joe Biden represents the working class in this country. He doesn't.
He very much supports the unions.
It's a oh, hold on a second. The union or the union bosses? Big difference. The union bosses support and the rank and file love Trump. The UAW loved Trump more than Biden. The carpenters union loved Trump more than Biden. The police union. The point is this, is that the Democrat Party, they are sitting on a house of cards of young activists that truly want to go like crush the rich. And there is some truth to that. Like there's a very rich oligarchy in this country that remains rich and stays rich off of gaming government systems and public policy. And you guys give them a free pass because you think that we're fascists when in reality, we're the ones that are actually fighting to destroy the oligarchy the most.
All right, last question.
Last point.
Last question. Let's say, so you do want to fight for the American middle class, and
yes.
Okay, how does freer the market like helps with the middle class?
I want precision in free markets, but
how does free market support the middle class?
Again, I'm not puritanical, but I think that generally more choices are a good thing. I think that generally supporting entrepreneurs is positive, but I think that mass immigration is really bad for American workers.
There's no mass immigration.
Well, first of all, how many people are? Wow. Well, you're right. There is mass invasion, but how many people are coming across the southern border every day?
I don't know, but like
I'm actually genuinely curious. Can you guess?
Okay. On what time frame?
Every day.
Every day. 500?
Yeah. It's at its low point. It's at 10,000 right now. It was 15,000 last month. So what is that annualized? Let's play that out.
A lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's mass immigration, right? How many green cards do we give out every year?
Oh, probably a lot.
Yeah, a lot. About 1.2 million.
Well,
right?
what's wrong with giving out green cards?
I'm not saying anything wrong. No, you said there's no mass migration. So I'm just trying to tell you, we do have mass migration, right? We have 3 million on the southern border, and then we have 1 million green cards, right? That's 4 million a year, right? Which is basically bigger than most U.S. states. Now, everything comes with a cost. When you have mass migration, you're going to get lower wages. But that means you're going to disenfranchise American workers. What, are you studying computer science?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so you're an American born, I'm guessing, American raised? I don't want to assume.
I wasn't, but I moved to the U.S.
Okay, well, you're an American now, I guess. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
or
I am.
Student visa? Okay, you're going to now have to compete. You're kind of proving my point, but that's a separate issue. You're now going to have to compete against foreign labor for your computer science jobs. I think we have a moral obligation to American-born workers to give them preference and priority and restrict the labor supply so that our computer science majors can have higher wages, not to have suppressed wages so some tech CEO can bring in a bunch of Indians and suppress their, no, nothing against Indians, but just, bring down their wages.
Personally, I just think that, like, if you came to America and then receive a green card, I think you get to work however you want. Like,
okay, I think that American-born citizens
and then
should be
there
given,
shouldn't be a priority. As long as you're
that's where we're
American
different.
citizen.
I actually think you must have a priority to your own citizens, or else you don't have a government. You have something else. If you don't have a priority to your own people, I don't know what you have. You have a colony, not a country. You're just a big economy, and that's fine if that's your position. By the way, your position is held by the ruling elite. Where I think that we should have a country, not just a colony, where the American-born citizens should be given preference over foreigners. Nothing against foreigners, I think they're nice people, but the Americans should be given first preference. And by the way, any sane country believes that. We're like the only country in the world that says, and certain European countries, come on in and take whatever you want. So let me ask you a question. So in the CRT literature, what do they think or whiteness?
Who would you like me to quote?
Kimberly Crenshaw.
I haven't read Kimberly Crenshaw.
She says that
yet.
whiteness is a cancer or a toxin on our society.
The concept of whiteness, the racial concept of whiteness.
Okay, so what is whiteness?
What is whiteness?
Yeah, define it.
As Kimberly Crenshaw would probably say, the sort of construction of privilege that comes with being white in this country.
Right, so what privilege do you and I as white people have that black people don't have?
Yeah, great question. On applications that are blindly judged, white-sounding names are often given the job more, they're paid more.
Not true. In fact, it's the opposite. There's black privilege right now. It's called affirmative action, where underqualified blacks are taking Asians and white people's places in universities across the country. True or false?
Sure, true.
Okay, so yeah, there's black privilege, not white privilege
I
in this
actually
country.
don't think affirmative action is how we address education inequality.
Okay, well, that affirmative action is still largely supported by the CRT regime. But let's get back to CRT, to the essence of it.
Sure.
CRT believes in one manifestation of its ideology is black-only dormitories. So white people are not allowed. Do you believe in black-only dormitories?
No, and I don't have to agree
Okay.
with
No,
every
you're
aspect
being
of an
fair.
ideology
Fine.
to argue for it.
So then what part of CRT do you like? Because they call whiteness a toxin, black-only dormitories, and if you want to talk about like ideological or intellectual sloppiness, the 1619 Project was...
I think it's very sloppy.
Okay, we agree. Nicole
I
Hannah-Jones.
think it's overstated, and
Okay.
I think some of
You're
parts
being
are
fair.
inaccurate.
Okay, good.
The parts of CRT that I think are most relevant and, very factually, you can, what am I trying to say? There's a lot of evidence for them, is the fact that previous inequalities, such as the institution of slavery, such as our treatment of Native Americans, do in fact affect those populations today. And you were saying before, in inner cities, there's a lot more crime, and a lot of that is because of redlining and other practices that come directly from the mistreatment of minorities previously in this country.
So I want to make sure I understand. So black people make up 13% of the American population.
Oh, 1350, my favorite.
Yes, exactly. Why do they commit 55% of all the murders?
Super great question. It's basically a very complex intersection of race and economic status. It's pretty well known that minority people tend to be in a lower economic status because of discrimination that
So
they
then why
face.
don't poor Asians commit a lot of murders?
Also a great question. Asian people weren't originally brought to America on purpose like black people, and they weren't already present here like natives.
Wait,
I'm not finished, please.
so blacks murder because they were brought here 250 years
No,
ago?
I would like to finish.
Okay, just answer. It's very simple. Black.
I am answering.
No, I know, but you're not really. You're
I
kinda-
am.
okay,
Asian Americans predominantly immigrate here for work reasons. They come from already wealthy countries. They're already wealthy when they get here. Crime is committed primarily
First
by
of all,
poor
that's not
people.
true. Talk to anybody from Who's Vietnamese? Anybody? Did your family come here wealthy?
No.
Yes
Not
and
wealthy,
no. Okay.
but not. I'm
Yes
not
or
saying
no?
they come
No.
here. Okay.
The average Vietnamese does not come here wealthy.
I'm not. Okay. I perhaps misspoke. Not wealthy, but a lot of the. You complain about it all the time. A lot of the immigration from countries that border us, right? It's sort of desperate people who are of a lower economic status, right? And they're coming here for a better life.
So two things. Number one, there's been more blacks that have legally immigrated in the last 30 years than were ever brought as slaves. That's number one. Number
Okay.
two, you still haven't answered the question.
I'm trying
But
to.
why-
It's a complicated answer.
Black people are only 13% of the population, yet they commit 55% of the murders. Why?
Because black people tend to be in lower economic statuses because of
Okay, no, this is
CRT,
fine. This is great.
Basically,
So you think that poverty equals crime?
I think that it's highly correlated, and there's a lot of studies
This is where
on
we
that.
disagree. What an insult to the working poor
So
of this
why
country.
do you think black people commit more
Well,
crime,
first
Charlie
of all,
Kirk?
so let me ask you a question as
No,
my
answer
answer.
it. Go on.
What percentage of blacks have a father around when they're raised?
I'm not sure.
20%.
So that's why you
80% of
think it is.
blacks do not have a stable father around. It is the most predictable way to end up in prison, end up as a murderer or a criminal.
And why
It's
do
not a
you think that's
racism
a problem?
It's not a white supremacy problem. It's a fact that black fathers impregnate women and they don't stay around with the women
And
that they have
why-
impregnated.
Charlie Kirk, do you think
Is-
that happens more in the black community compared to others?
It's threefold. Number one, we subsidize single motherhood. Number two, it's culture. It's accepted in the black community, and it
so
shouldn't
it's
be.
culture. Okay.
Don't take my
I
word
see.
for it. Read Thomas Sowell's own book on how black culture allows single motherhood to continue into a nanny state type practice. 75% of black youth are raised without a father in the home. 75%. Is that a bigger problem or not a bigger problem than whiteness, white privilege, or white supremacy? How
They
can
should
you
all
blame?
be addressed, and they're all related.
Okay, how is a white person to blame for the fact that 75% of blacks?
Oh, individual white people aren't at all to blame.
Okay, we agree.
Yeah.
So, but wouldn't it be more smarter to be like, hey, that this is not about systemic racism. Stop impregnating your women and abandoning them.
Well, the way to incentivize not impregnating women and abandoning them is increasing access to healthcare, into housing, into everything that we know increases
so we've
those
done
outcomes
that.
for people.
So we have spent $30 trillion on the social welfare system since 1965. black people are poorer, and the single motherhood went from 25% to now 75 to 80%. So the more money we've spent on black America, the less fathers we have, because black women divorced black men and married the government.
And do you think that's a problem inherent to black people?
No, it's not. It's happening now in white communities and Hispanic communities. It's just the worst in black America.
And why do you think that is?
Why is it the worst in black America? There's also a cultural problem. There is, and we have to be honest about it.
It's just that black people are
No, let me ask you a question.
Like
The average music that a black person in Compton is listening to, is it about contemplating the good, the true, and the beautiful, or is it about being a gangbanger and trying to get as much money and sleep with about as many girls as you can?
I would actually like to think I would be offended by that.
Do you think the average black kid in Compton is listening to Beethoven or some sort of gangster rap music that glorifies gangster culture?
Silly question. Rap wasn't created to glorify gangster culture. So even though there is rap, I'm sure that's doing that.
You're dodging the question because...
Okay, I'm sure they're listening to rap.
Okay.
So you think rap music makes them leave their mom?
Do you think the cultural expectation in black America is that you stay with the woman that you impregnate?
Within black communities? I can't speak on that.
Okay, the answer is no. It's not. It's not expected.
Okay, and do you think that
hold on, in white Anglo-Saxon Protestant communities, it's a fact. Hold on. In upper middle class white communities.
Upper middle class. Say that part louder.
Yeah, upper middle class white Anglo-Saxon Protestant communities, if you impregnate a woman, you are looked down upon and we do not think highly of you if you abandon the woman that you impregnate. Mm-hmm. That's a cultural difference. Has nothing to do with money. Has nothing to do with anything except norms. And the norms that have infected black America are destroying it from within. We need more fathers, not less. We need more dads around and less drag queen story hour. We need more young blacks to be able to look up to role models that are not leaving all the time and are not just saying, hey, I impregnated her, so be it. It's a toxin, and if we don't address that as the root cause, it's white supremacy, it's injustice, it's economics, we're dancing around the core of the issue.
I guess what I'm saying is, right, and you've perfectly actually laid out the dichotomy here. It is a fact, obviously, that black people disproportionately commit crime in this country. No one's arguing that. But you either believe that that is due to a complex intersection of social, economic, and leftover effects from previous inequalities, or you believe that that is an inherent trait to the race.
No, I don't. Because they weren't that way in the 1940s and 50s. Black America was one of the most peaceful, flourishing, fastest growing economically communities in the country. It's not genetic. You're trying to point something on me that I don't believe. Instead,
but then
Black
you do
America,
believe that it's not genetic, so you do think CRT is correct.
Hold on a second.
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
In the 1940s and 1950s, Black America was prosperous and was on pace to be richer and wealthier than white America. More dads were staying with the women that they were with. There was monogamy. What changed?
You're supporting my argument.
No, hold on. But answer the question. What changed? Did America get more racist since the 1950s?
I would argue there were more racist policies passed. There were more policies dedicated to lining off those communities and pushing them into poor housing and poor schools.
Wait a second. In the 1950s, Jackie Robinson had not even broken the color barrier. We had Jim Crow laws. We hadn't passed the Civil Rights Act, and we hadn't passed the Voting Rights Act. Yet blacks were better in the 1950s per capita than they are today. So we have become less racist. We've passed more anti-racist laws and given more stuff, and blacks are worse than they were 70 years ago.
Yeah.
Why?
So you're equating here institutional and social racism. Social racism was certainly worse in the 1950s, I'm sure everyone would agree, but institutional racism occurs when policies are passed against people.
Come on.
Which can increase over time, and it did.
You're not being intellectually honest. You know that. There was black-only drinking fountains in the 1950s. We don't have those anymore. Well, we're bringing them back with, black-only dormitories. But we had, for example, in the antebellum South in the 1950s, we had white-only communities, by law. We got rid of that with the Civil Rights Act. But it didn't, unfortunately, we look around, the numbers speak for themselves. Black youth are less likely to have fathers. They're not doing as well as far as economically. They commit more crime. So something changed. And our argument is what changed is three things. Number one, the imposition of the Great Society Project by Lyndon Baines Johnson of spending $30 trillion since 1960s on Section 8 housing, on welfare, on all sorts, where, as I said, that young black women married the government and they divorced young black men. And then we also have had as Thomas Sowell and as Clarence Thomas would say, the soft bigotry of low expectations. And we have been afraid to get to the root of the issue or even speak about it because we don't want to be called a racist.
So what is imposing those low expectations?
Part of it is like white academic culture. I'll give you an example. I'm not saying you believe this, but Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States, has come out and said having an ID to vote is racist. That is code for saying black people are too dumb to get a voter ID.
You're doing it again. You're simplifying a very nuanced, complex argument from the real people who are making it.
Is voter ID racist?
Obviously not, Charlie.
Okay, all right.
Do you want to know where the argument comes from? I can eloquently tell you.
Eloquently tell me why voter ID is racist or whatever.
Certain policies in southern states were proposed that would, like, I think the quote from the person who decided the case was, with surgical precision, target the times where black people were voting and make it like illegal or harder for them to get that to come at that time. And then they were targeting the type of ID that black voters had and making that specific type of ID illegal. That is racist.
Perfectly fair. How does that impact today, saying that every citizen, if you need an ID to vote, just that aside, why is it racist?
Because we have to have, obviously humans are making those decisions, right? And so if there is still institutional racism and people in power that are racist, we can't trust those institutions to make those decisions without
institutional
discriminating against
racism
people.
do we have in this country right now?
What you just named it.
What?
1350.
Okay, well, I mean,
affirmative action needs to happen because there is not that many minorities in these higher educations or higher education institutions.
Okay, so you're being clear, which is then you lower standards.
No.
Affirmative action always does. Affirmative action lowers standards by definition.
I'm saying why affirmative action was introduced. I'm not arguing for it.
Were you asking me why it was introduced, or?
No, I'm saying you agree that's why it was introduced.
Well, I agree why it was. I don't think it ever should have been, but yes.
Right, but there is institutional inequality, yes?
Well, I wouldn't even use the word inequality. I mean, I don't love looking at it that way, but of course, white people generally are richer than black people in this country.
Richer and more represented in politics and schools, yes?
Somewhat yes and no.
Why do you think that is, Charlie?
Well, hold on a second. Let's ask the question here. Represented how? So, I mean...
Look at Congressman.
So, no, hold on a second. Are white people represented fairly in the National Basketball Association?
Who cares? What political power does the
Hold on, I thought we're
national...
all about fair representation.
Listen.
I think that it should, by law, half of the NBA should be white.
Great, fine.
And the product would suck.
Lobby for it.
Because
I don't
blacks
care.
are much better at basketball than we whites are.
What political power does the NBA have?
A lot, actually. The NBA reaches millions of people every day. They have slogans that people internalize. In fact, if the NBA had no political power, why would they have to wear Black Lives Matter on all their jerseys? Why would politicians try to get their endorsements all the time? The NBA is more powerful than Congress in some ways of shaping the minds.
It's your turn to be academically dishonest.
Hold on
now,
a second.
Sure.
No. But if you want fair representation, just to be clear, then why would you not be against whites by law being half of the National Basketball Association? Right now, black people make up 88% of the NBA.
Do it, great. Who cares?
No,
I don't care. I'm saying,
okay.
Right, so here's my point.
All right, fine. I have a shot, everybody.
Please listen.
I could play for the Lakers.
I hope. Do it, Charlie. I'll come to your games. I'll do it.
The point is this, is that merit should triumph over all of it.
Which is awesome. Okay, so merit should triumph. We agree.
Okay.
Okay, Charlie, do you think black people are not as smart or competent
Absolutely
as white
not.
people?
No.
Perfect. So they should, in theory, then be equally represented in positions of power.
Hold on. So have you ever read Discrimination and Disparities by Thomas Sowell?
Do you only read Thomas Sowell? You've quoted him like 3 times. I haven't read that.
No, I read a lot more than Thomas Sowell, but I'm happy to. Thomas Sowell's the only intellectual with the courage to go after like these core issues of why Black America has fallen behind and why no one actually has studied it. So let's just give a great example. When you don't have a father in the home, the amount of words that a child hears goes down by 60 to 70%. The amount of words that a child, I don't know if you're a mother or not, or plan to be. Okay. No, just it's an important point. The amount of words that an 18-month-year-old hears is highly predictive of IQ, verbal development. Okay, so that's simple. When you don't have a dad in the home, the mom is overwhelmed and there's just less interaction with the child.
That's all fine.
Okay, so we agree. I'm just saying that's not because of racism.
That's true. Obviously,
no, that's fine.
That's good.
No, she. I know what you meant. But you have a father in the home. All of a sudden, they hear thousands of more words a day, and they're like way further ahead of a single mother raising a child. That's not racism.
Okay, so dads are good. Yes, great.
Okay.
My question to
I'm saying
you
dads
is,
actually answer most of the questions that you might have about why Black America is falling behind.
Okay, but
because their dads don't stay around, and that's
I'm trying
bad.
to sort of get to you to reconcile your own beliefs. And if that's true, which is fine, that's true. We can say that's true. You either believe that has social and economic causes, or you believe that, Black culture's just worse.
No,
and there
I
isn't
think
another
that
thing to think.
No, I
Those
was
are your
very
options.
clear. Right now, Black culture is being held captive by influences, songs,
Which
and role models.
influences?
I mean, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B.
Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home.
Hold on a second. I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old Black girls. I don't think that songs that are talking about like glorifying wet female genitalia is exactly, I don't know which one wrote that song. Which one was it?
I think it was Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But by the way, the role models of the 1940s and 50s for Black America were completely different.
So it is a representation issue.
Hold on a second. No, not representation. It's who do you get your art from? It's what values are they putting forward? It's the question of every day, for example, more times than not, Black politicians will lament the condition of America. It's systemically racist. It's terrible. What does that do to a 14-year-old Black kid if you just find that you hear that everything is rigged against you? Instead, they should be saying, hey, there might be some barriers, but if you believe in yourself enough, you can achieve in this country. It creates a form of social conditioning of low expectations, and that's not my argument. You know whose argument that is? Barack Obama's. Barack Obama said.
Either, man.
Barack Obama said, number one, we need more fathers in the home. This is when Barack Obama didn't go super woke.
Obama's a liberal. I don't care what he's got to say.
Okay, but Barack Obama then secondly, he said that we can't keep telling our Black youth that you can't succeed in this country. Anybody can succeed in this country. And Obama was right when he said that. Obama was correct when he said that we need to change the story we're telling Black America.
Which is fine. I've never heard any teacher look at a Black person and say, oh, you can't succeed because of racism.
Hold on a second. But what is the embedded message of all the propaganda saying it's systemically racist, you're going to run into racist employers, that they're going to discriminate against you? It creates this heaviness of why even try?
By the time college students
rigged.
get to college, they've experienced all that. They don't need to be told.
You think that the average, I'm curious, you think that the average Black student at this university experiences like active daily racism? I'd be curious.
I'd have to ask. You can ask them to raise their hand.
I don't know. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's as bad as it was in the antebellum South. So.
I'm not saying that, obviously.
Okay.
I did say social racism improved. I'm saying institutional racism is still present, and that's what's causing lower outcomes for minority communities.
Do you think the reason why only 20 to 25%, it depends, we don't know the number, it's just a range per year.
Sure.
So 1 in 4 of Black youth have a stable father around. What would you just say is why is that the reason?
A complex intersection of social and economic reasons, which are outlined in CRT.
Okay. Thank you for the dialogue. Thank you.
Okay.
How do you feel about like the current state of the economy and this whole theory of like immaculate disinflation, if you're familiar with the term?
Say that again.
Immaculate disinflation?
Well, we're not living through that.
Okay,
But
yeah.
yes.
And where's your proof that we aren't exactly?
Are you talking deflation?
Yes.
That we actually we're not seeing a surge in prices?
No, disinflation means the inflation rate is decreasing over time.
Well, so there is some evidence to show that, for example, televisions, iPhones.
Specific products. That's not an illustration of all inflation, though.
No, I was going to agree with you that.
Okay.
But if you just go to a grocery store, eggs are far more expensive than they were 2 years ago. You don't have to overthink it. I mean, the college degree here at this university, what is it per year, guys?
30,000.
How much?
That's without.
They've been
10 in state, 30,000 out of state. Yeah, 10 years ago, I bet it was 18,000 out of state, right? So
yes, but they've been trying to raise the Cal State tuition for quite some time, even before inflation spiked to its current levels or previous levels about a year ago. They've just been delaying it for quite some time. So
yeah,
it's not
I mean,
exactly.
We're living through a decades-long inflation surge, and the best evidence you could see it either in the artificial boosting of profit-earning ratios. Go ahead.
Even during like Trump's administration, inflation was actually quite low, so that's not
No, it was low then, but
true.
It's not low right now.
Yes, but why was it low then, would you say?
Well, because we had economic growth, and we weren't borrowing $2 to $3 trillion a year.
We actually were. We were borrowing quite a bit of money.
We were borrowing about $1 trillion a year.
Still quite a bit.
So we're borrowing about triple that right now.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
I mean, I think that's how the math works
so
out.
triple in the law of big numbers is a big deal. So borrowing $800 billion, not excusable. Borrowing $2.5 trillion, morally reprehensible.
Morally, why exactly morally is there
Well,
a distinction between 1 and 3 trillion? Very arbitrary.
Because everyone here is going to have to pay off that debt, and that dollar that you think is going to have value is decreasing by the day. Whether you're pro-choice or Democrat.
But inflation is something that's going to occur no matter what.
Can I finish? Okay.
I apologize.
It's okay. Inflation is not a guaranteed human norm. That's not true, but I'll get to that in a second. Every single person here, it will be harder than ever for you to own a home. So inflation is immoral because you're going to enter into a housing market where everything costs 3 times as much in the housing market than it did a decade ago. You will not be able to afford a down payment, let alone even be able to build the capital necessary for other goods and services that you might want to build wealth. And you know who does benefit is your parents' generation and baby boomers, no offense, that do own their assets and you won't. And so, secondly, inflation is a choice. It's not built into the human experience.
The human experience, sure, but the economic system, especially a capitalist economic system, it definitely is. How would you try to achieve 0% inflation?
0% inflation?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't want 0% inflation.
So then it is built in.
Inflation...
And it is a necessary evil.
No, I said I wouldn't want it. Okay. Moderate inflation is good for money velocity and for growth.
Yes.
But you need to manage that versus the growth rate, right? So this goes back to Milton Friedman's idea of the Chicago monetarism. You can laugh all you want.
Friedman? Yeah, all right.
Okay. What's so funny about Milton Friedman? The fact he's the greatest economist of the 20th century, or
qualify? That's I don't know. I wouldn't say he's exactly that.
So you're more like a John Maynard Keynes guy. So yeah.
Not necessarily. Okay, no. I just take a more broad approach than specifically Milton
we don't
Friedman.
need to have a central bank. We do have a central bank.
Okay. Bold claim. I'll follow you though.
You don't need to have a central bank.
I used to be very against the Federal Reserve as well.
Okay, I'm just saying you don't need to have one, but we choose to have one. The central bank has been overly politicized to try to stop, let's just say, natural economic cycles from occurring. Both administrations, Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, have leaned on the central bank to use cheap money as a way to try to keep the good times flowing and the good times going.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's definitely for sure.
So we don't agree. Well, we don't disagree.
Yeah, but here's the other thing I would say.
We can't hear you.
I gotta say, your protesters are kind of weak here, guys. I expected more out of them, right?
They didn't seem to have the energy to get
I know. I thought they'd have more, Yeah, I like it. Please keep going, yeah.
I will say, though, going back to the mortgage rates, as you were saying, I would say that probably has a lot more to do with private equity buying up homes than the inflation rate.
Well, hold on. There's 2 parts to that. I'm not talking just about mortgage. Interest rates are up. I'm talking about just the asset price itself.
That too. I would say it's a lot more related to private equity buying up homes.
But why is private equity doing that? Because they have so much cheap money that we've put into the system, they don't have to do with it. Now, I think we could agree, actually, there should be laws against BlackRock coming in and buying single-family homes and renting them back. Of renters, it's bad for society.
Yes.
So we can agree on that. I say that as a conservative. It's bad for the human experience and for generational flourishing. But when you open up the guzzle of cheap money, which we have done, especially post-COVID, there's a price to that, and the price is that your currency gets weaker. And we're seeing that right now.
Yes. So would you say that it was actually necessary in order to get out of the huge recession we experienced during the pandemic
No, I think we should have just opened up the economy. We never should have locked down the country. So we never should have borrowed the $6 trillion. We never should have done the stimulus stuff. It hurt every single one of you. It increased suicide rates, depression, anxiety, fiscal problems, economic problems, political problems.
I could definitely agree with that to some extent. But would you say even in, say, 2009, lowering the interest rates to 0 in that sense, was that
we didn't
necessary?
Go to 0. We didn't. We went down, believe it or not. We went to 5%. COVID, we went to near 0.
Yes.
But no, I have a contrarian view on 2008. I think we should have let the banks fail. And I think we should have. I think we actually should have allowed the market to solve it, not to have socialism for the rich and
you know what?
Brutal capitalism for the working class.
I totally agree with that.
Okay, so
I totally agree with that.
I think that Wells Fargo, Goldman, I think that Lehman and the big banks that failed should have had to actually climb themselves out, or you destroyed a moral hazard is what you did, and 0 executives went to prison. I agree with Elizabeth Warren on this. None of these robber barons that did what they did in 08 served federal prison time. Meanwhile, and I will use a political statement to contrast it, grandmas that went into the Capitol on January 6th and took selfie videos are in federal prison. You ask me who's a bigger threat to democracy? Wall Street executives that bankrupted our economy in 2008 are a bigger threat to our country than people that walked into the Capitol building and took a selfie.
Now, let me ask you this. I don't know if my memory served me correctly, but who was... did Steve Mnuchin serve under the Trump administration?
Yeah, he was from Government Sachs.
Did he serve under the Trump administration?
That's right, yeah.
So why would Trump invite someone like that who should probably be in federal prison into his administration?
I have a lot of personnel disagreements. I love Trump, but I think
You love Trump?
Love Trump.
Why would you love? Why would? So
do we love Trump, everybody?
So to ask a broader question,
Yes.
why would you love any politician? They have a job to do. Why be emotionally attached in that sense?
And I don't say this like lightly. I do have a friendship with him. I've gotten to know him over a couple of years.
Okay.
So
and disclosing bias.
100% biased. And
Good.
so I also think whether you hate him or love him, he's a once in 100 year.
But why would you hate him or love him? He just has a job to do.
Well,
right?
I also love what he did as country.
Okay.
As president for the country. So.
Would you say though that you're probably more of a fiscal conservative?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I probably his borrowing was one of the two. So 3 things, if you want to just be full disclosure, that I think President Trump could have done better, and I think he will do better. Fiscal deficit spending. Okay.
Why do you think he will do better?
Let me get to all 3. Okay.
Okay.
COVID and certain personnel choices. Okay.
Okay.
Those are the 3 things, and I could list 100 accomplishments. Those are 3 things I think that the first administration, that wasn't their best.
Yeah.
Why it could have been better? I think that he's got the world against him, and if he becomes president again, which the 50, he's going to set the world on fire.
I would say he's a little bit too egotistical and emotional to really counter the world being against him. He seems to react a little too emotionally to these kinds of things.
I don't want to get too deep into it, but you're not gonna convince me on negative Trump stuff. So.
Okay, interesting. So your mind isn't necessarily that open. Doesn't this change my mind?
You could try.
Okay.
I mean, you're not gonna.
But didn't you just say kind of up front that you're not really gonna
I'm
change
open-minded to
your
hear.
opinion?
I'm just saying you're not going to change my mind on that kind of stuff.
Okay. So then, what is it that's leading you to think that Trump is going to have better decision making in this next term, specifically when it comes to borrowing? Because he is going to
necessity. I mean, I don't know, and honestly, there's little evidence except the fact that
little intuition.
We're going to have a debt crisis, the likes of which the country's never seen. And he's going to have to address it. We need to have severe cuts in the federal budget.
So would you say that the downgrading of America's credit rating is more related to our national debt or the inability to handle it in a mature way?
More both, but more just the debt itself is.
Okay.
I mean, we now owe more than we're worth as a country. So I want to get to other questions because you've had some time. But final question. I want to be respectful. But
so I guess. If you think that that's an issue that we have more debt than say our current income?
Well, we do.
Well, yeah, but if you would
just
say
the value of the country.
Of course, we control our own currency, and our currency is
Are you a
the number one
monetary theory
reserve
guy? So
Okay.
So
It's the number one reserve, so that gives us a lot of wiggle room.
It's decreasing. It used to be 75% of the world's reserve currency status 20 years ago. Now it's 55%.
I would say.
Do you know about BRICS? You know BRICS, right? BRICS,
yeah, I do.
BRICS is creating an alternative.
I think they're a
dollar.
paper tiger.
Okay. I actually hope you're right.
I don't believe that India, China, South Africa, and Russia could ever work together to create their own unified currency.
I just hope we're not too prideful.
Definitely a paper tiger.
I've seen you talk a lot about objective morality. And my big question is, it feels like you can make good statements and bad statements without referencing some kind of moral book. So I can say something is good, right? I had a good day today, and it doesn't really feel like I need to reference religion for that. So can you explain to me why you think we need to have some kind of absolute standard for morality?
Excellent question. It's really good. If you say you have a good day, are you describing the experience you had, or was it morally a good day?
So yeah, it would be a good day. So I can narrow it down more, I guess. Or I can ask, I guess, a better question. So if I don't have religion, right? Let's say I am an atheist or something, and I were to go up to, I find 2 books. One's the Quran, and then one is the Bible. And I read both of them, and then I have a feeling of preference towards one or the other. That makes me feel like morality probably isn't objective because I read 2 moral codes. I didn't have one before, and then I derived one after reading it.
But one is true.
Well, yeah, obviously if you go in with the presupposition that one is true. But
so let's play this out. Not sorry to interrupt. If I'm on an island, and let's just demystify part of this, and there's the Bible, and then there's Lord of the Rings, and I end up believing in one of those, which is true?
Well, what's true is just what corresponds with reality. We're talking about...
I agree. So which one has evidence, and when applied in the natural world actually shows a flourishing people and society and a way to live? Because you would agree, at least out of 8 out of 10 of the 10 commandments, they're pretty good rules for life,
No,
right?
yeah, 100%.
Of course, yes.
No, but
so
the
great.
thing that I'm talking about doesn't have to do with whether or not Christianity is good or bad, or whether I
that's
agree
not what
with
you're saying.
most
I know.
of. Yeah, it's just regarding like, yeah, one can be true, but even if one is true, it doesn't really feel like I'm influenced in terms of what I feel is good or bad, because obviously, there are people who are Muslim who have read, the Bible and still are more persuaded by Islam.
No, of course. I mean, you could be persuaded by anything, right? That doesn't. I believe that there is a transcendent way of living. I call that the Bible, right? And I believe it's the perfect catalog from creation to the end of the world. You don't have to agree with that. I'm talking strictly from a moral sense. So let's just ask a separate question, which is, do you think people are naturally, outside of teaching, good or not so good? The nature of humanity.
The nature. I wouldn't be comfortable making a statement about it.
Fair enough, and I appreciate that. So we believe, as Christians or those in the space, human beings are pretty awful, okay? That we're broken, that we're sinful, that we fall short of the glory of God, and that we need to teach people how to be good. A common left-wing belief is that human beings are actually awesome, and they're terrific, and the reason why things are not so good is because of capitalism or the patriarchy or feminism or whatever. So you're asking a question of, why do we need objective morality? Well, or what specifically?
Yeah, so not necessarily why we need objective morality, but you seem to be, because obviously I don't believe that it's a thing, but you seem to make the claim that
do you believe that absolutely?
No.
Okay, good.
But
you're consistent.
Yeah, the big thing is for me, even if I have a God, there is no thing telling me, like, it's just like the is-ought problem, right? That's like my big contention, right? How am I ever going to derive a claim about what I should do from only statements about the nature of being?
Got it. So you would believe murder's wrong?
Yeah.
Why do you believe that?
Because in its definition, it says it's wrong, right? It's wrong killing of somebody, or at least that's my understanding of it.
Okay, so for example, you go to an African village, happens all the time. They leave a full-born baby by the fire. They don't want it. They discard it. Happens tons of times. Any missionary will tell you that. They just discard babies. Why? They don't believe it's wrong. It's just in their code and custom. No one feels bad about it. Just discard kids you don't want. Are they wrong?
For me, yeah, they're wrong. Yeah. It's a bullet I do have to bite for my worldview.
Hold on. Are they objectively wrong? Is it objective?
No. Because I don't believe in objective morality. So that can apply to any statement. So
it's not objectively wrong to leave a full-born baby by the fire and just say, you're on your own, have a nice life.
Well, yeah, I'm calling into question objective morality. So I obviously have to bite
I know.
that
I'm
bullet.
just trying to make you hear back how insane what you are saying.
Well, you're making a claim about the objectivity of it.
No,
you're
I know.
not making a claim about whether it's wrong. Obviously, I think it's wrong.
Let's get more graphic. So you put 1,000 Jews in a gas chamber, and the Nazis thought what they were doing was good, and they pressed the button. Were they right or were they wrong in gassing millions of Jews?
Objectively, you can't, when you say, is it objectively wrong? Hold on, wait. If you say it's objectively wrong, you're implying that you can derive a truth value from it. And I don't think you can. So I don't think that you can make a true statement regarding whether something's good or bad.
Got it. So just to be clear, the Nazis could have been right in their actions, in your view.
That implies that right is an actual thing. I don't believe you can determine a truth value from a moral claim.
So the Nazis were not objectively evil?
Yeah, I've said that 4 times. You can't derive objective moral statements from things. I'm not saying they're not wrong. They are wrong. Oh.
Well, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
No, I just want to make sure this is important, because what you are saying, and you're saying it very clearly, is that we look at the Holocaust and it's just a matter of opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem of being an atheist. You have to bite the bullet.
I respect your intellectual clarity, and I will say...
And obviously, for clarity,
no.
I obviously think the Holocaust is wrong. So if anyone's questioning about
that... No, but it's just your opinion. I believe that it's objectively wrong, no matter who you are or where you come from, because it transcends opinion. Do you think, last question, I appreciate your clarity on this, do you see how your view could result in a lot of dead people?
Well, I don't think my view is really I'm not making a claim that we should behave in a way.
No, you're making claims.
Well... I am making claims, yeah, but I'm not making a claim that we should behave in a certain way, or that we ought to not have Christianity or some kind of moral
I'm not saying
code.
that, but let me play this out, and I think you'll understand.
No, I understand, because you're going to say, well, there's all these bad things that could happen if people follow me.
Or that did happen. No, I'm not following you. If your view becomes a view of a country, And for example, putting 1,000 Jews in a gas chamber is not deemed as objectively wrong, transcendent above anyone's opinion, then all of a sudden, what would prevent that evil thing from occurring and nobody questioning it?
Sure. So my main idea, I guess, with the worldview is I'm not making a claim again about how things should be. I'm making a claim that this is how things are. So within my worldview, this is all fine. You can have people agreeing that things are wrong. Generally, I think most people's moral intuitions will lead them to thinking that things like murder is wrong and stealing is wrong because it makes you feel bad, right?
No, well,
if I see somebody get hurt, that makes me feel bad. If you see somebody die, that makes you
totally.
feel bad.
Yeah, the SS guards didn't feel bad when they killed Jews, and that's okay. But do you see where this might unravel into mass murder and societal chaos?
Yeah, that happens in the real world. I'm making a description about the way people derive their morals. I'm not saying how we should or shouldn't. I'm saying this is how you derive your morals. If you have two books there, the trueness or correspondence with reality has zero anything to do with your preference towards, one moral system or another.
Hold on. Or maybe the true one says, don't gas the Jews.
That would be,
murder,
that would be obviously,
because God will judge you harshly.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe just hear me out. Maybe the true one says that life is good and that there is a creator who loves you.
But
maybe,
now what you're doing is you're just making claims about what you think, yeah, obviously it would be awesome if I had a moral code that everyone had to follow that agreed with
I know,
things
if only
a
book existed.
Yeah, I know, if only. But my entire
if only
point
there
is
was
that
this
all the
amazing
things
book.
Yeah, but my point is that
No,
all
you're being super clear. I appreciate it.
Okay, yeah.
No, and you're the first person ever, to your credit, to answer the atheist Nazi question clearly, which is that an atheist cannot objectively say that the Holocaust is wrong.
I'm arguing against objective, the idea that...
No, you're being... Usually there's some withering there. You went right into there.
Well, yeah, I can't go in here and, not bite the bullets of, what my argument implies,
We have clarity but not agreement. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
you for your time.
Do you view democracy as an American value, something that's very important to the fabric of this country?
No. Where is democracy in the U.S. Constitution?
Oh, okay. So
No, hold on. Where is the word democracy?
I don't think the word democracy is in the Constitution.
So where is the word democracy in any of the founding fathers?
A lot of the founding fathers had extremely elitist viewpoints around who should...
No, hold on. I just want to... You said the word democracy, so I want to get back to our roots.
Yes.
Where is democracy mentioned? In the Federalist Papers, the Constitution, or the Declaration?
I think it's good that this country has moved away from things that were explicitly believed by the founding
in the Federalist
fathers.
Papers, and it's mentioned negatively as a problem. Is democracy a fundamental American value? I say no.
Okay.
Because I go back to our roots. And Hamilton, Madison, and Jay...
Oh, I know that Hamilton was anti-democracy.
Well, hold on,
these
let me
people
finish.
thought that people should be owned as
I want to be clear. I
Yeah.
am pro-representative government, but I'm not pro-democracy. That's a big difference, and that distinction's important. But you asked very specifically about democracy, which is not an American value. It never has been and never should be, because what is democracy? Democracy is majority rule no matter what. That there's no provisions of checks and balances, no inalienable rights, no separation of powers, pure if the majority gets it, the majority wants it as quickly as possible.
I don't advocate pure democracy. I do understand that we live in a representative, we live in a republic,
so
and I understand these things.
representative government.
Okay.
And you might say I'm splitting hairs on words, but I'm not.
Well, just coming from a place where on some level we have a level of democracy in this country and people vote and it is part of their civic duty to vote.
Sure.
Yes. Do you not think it is in the greater interest of this country at large that its citizens are as educated as possible to therefore be able to participate in that system?
I think they should be as wise as possible, and I don't think that education and wisdom are the same thing.
Yeah,
in fact,
I understand.
I think college disincentivizes the cultivation of wisdom.
In the age where there is such a hypersaturation of, and we've seen this, extremely polarizing, different, people are getting their news from wildly different sources.
Yes.
People just don't interact with the other side at all. Do you think that being an autodidact in any sense of the term is going to give you a thorough and rigorous education if you are so likely to end up sucked into these holes where you're never interacting with people who
That's not my only form of learning. I meet a lot of cool people. I learn from people like you and others. I mean, I'm listening when you're talking. It's not just a shtick. You haven't won me over on any of it, but you had an opportunity to. But I'm glad you attempted to. But yeah, I mean, you learn in other ways other than just sitting in a classroom, listening to a professor drone on for 90 minutes and pretending to read his book and paying $20,000 a semester to cheat on the exam at the end of the semester.
I think college is what you make of it. I
agree. So is life.
People are selling themselves short on their education if they don't.
You can listen to as many podcasts as you want. You can meet interesting people. And
academia does have an actual level of you have to prove that you're worth your salt, at least to have peer-reviewed papers published,
No, I mean, yeah,
which you
if you
don't
get a
have to do to start a podcast.
If you get a PhD, yes, but hold on. So is your contention that I'm not informed or not worldly or not wise? I want to be clear.
I'm not making any claims about your specific level of being informed. I'm
Okay.
saying the general rhetoric on the right against education, against higher education
Well, hold on.
specifically.
Why do you think it is? Is it because you think we hate smart people, or is it that there's something happening here that we really think is troubling?
I think it's much easier to control people who are less educated.
See, now you're a conspiracy theorist. So, no, it's...
Anti-intellectualism is a hallmark of fascism.
Do you think we're against higher education because it largely has created an ungrateful, unprepared generation that goes into the American body politic and does not share the core American values of freedom of speech, gratitude for our founding, consent of the governed? In fact, it's hyper-radical. It's against our traditions, our norms, and our customs, and it's created massive fissures. We call that the woke mind virus, if you will.
Okay, that makes...
It's not because people are easier to control. In fact, we love learning. I learn every day. In fact, that's why I'm pro Hillsdale College, where it's probably one of the hardest colleges in the country to get into and graduate from. The problem is that when you are learning largely trash and crap, and you're not going in the pursuit of truth, beauty, or goodness, and you're not trying to inculcate wisdom or good character...
There's no oversight on online political punditry to make sure that you're in pursuit of wisdom and goodness.
No, of course there's
you
not.
directly profit from propagating viewpoints that are more polarizing and that suck people deeper into more conspiratorial thinking.
Hold on. What you're doing is you're actually insulting the audience, not me. Because the vast majority of this audience actually enjoys watching my videos, and they enjoy hearing from me.
I never said your audience didn't enjoy watching your videos.
Because you say I'm profiting. The way
you do profit, you financially, you make a ton of money from getting more clicks.
The audience rewards me because they find that I bring some value.
Well, I don't
and that they
necessarily
learn something
think
from
that
me.
whatever gets the most eyes
question.
on a specific...
But it's easy to attack me as exploitation. What I say is actually very popular and resonates with people. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, I've seen the socialism sucks. So.
Yeah, well, I don't like your ideology. I don't know about you. You seem like a nice enough person.
Yeah.
Your ideas are practically evil, but that's okay.
No, same for you.
Okay, tell me why.
What?
Tell me why.
Capitalism is a vampire. I don't know.
Is it what?
I said capitalism is a dead vampire that feasts on the blood of the working class.
Capitalism is a deadly vampire that feasts on the blood of the working class.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that for me?
I don't really want to right now, but because
do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
So you're feasting on the blood of the working class. How dare you?
Yeah, I know.
How do you feel about that?
We all have to do the best that we can.
No, you don't. Why don't you go live on a farm and not use the fruits of the working class and just be a socialist with your friends? Why use the fruits of the free market? Isn't that kind of hypocritical?
No, because the free market is so pervasive, we have no choice but to leave it.
No, like I said, you could go live on a farm by yourself, like the Amish do, or like socialists in Vermont do, but yet you choose to live in a free market society and benefit from it, and use the heat and the light and the well-being and the medicine and the food all as a byproduct of a market-based society.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it. But...
Oh, you love it, but you said it's a vampire sucking the blood of the working class, so isn't that a little contradictory?
What?
What's your dad's opinion?
My dad's opinion?
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 18.
Is your dad the same persuasion as you?
No. He's a Republican.
Slightly, that's okay.
He's
Republican.
Yeah, he's a Republican.
But no one's preventing. See, here's the thing: no one's preventing you from living like a socialist. You can go do that, but your worldview would prevent me from living like an entrepreneur or like a capitalist. So inherently, your ideology is built on control of other people's choices. Ours is built on freedom. If you want to go live like a socialist, I have no problem with that. You can go start your own socialist colony in rural Utah, buy your own land and share your own water and share your own food. That's what's so amazing about voluntary societies. Whereas what you talk about is a coercive society. I don't have that freedom to live how I want to live under the worldview that you espouse. And I think that's immoral.
You're forcing them.
And again, I don't believe in revolutionary socialism.
I didn't accuse you of that. You said Democrat socialism.
Yeah. That's just the club that was really, I'm fairly Marxist, honestly.
Okay, let's talk.
That's just the club that I'm in. But I believe that eventually we will get to a state where enough people, we will collectively come together and say, hey, you know, this is better, you know, for all of us. I don't, obviously, with the world we live in today, like, socialism can't exist, like today in America. Like, I'm very pragmatic, you know, at my core. I'm like, I recognize that's never going to happen.
You said the Marxist thing. Can you give me an example where Marxism has ever worked?
No, but that's because we are...
But it's been tried over 100 times in the last 100 years, and it's never worked. It's 0 for 100. And isn't that kind of concerning to you?
Well, so the thing is, in a Marxist state, you know, it's a stateless, classless, money society.
Right, and so that's just utopia, man. And that's no different than a fiction novel about Neverland. It's been tried, and the results are hundreds of millions of people dead.
But that's ultimately what the true communist utopia is.
Right. So here's the question: you think utopia is attainable?
I think it is, not in our lifetime.
Okay.
Have you read the Communist Manifesto?
Yeah, and so I guess the struggle I have here is you espouse a viewpoint that has never worked, you think's never going to work in our lifetime, and never work in this country. That's no different than me believing in something of a work of fiction.
But that doesn't mean that you can't work towards it.
So how would we go about working towards it? That's where the revolutionary component comes in, isn't it? So maybe you are a little more revolutionary than you admit it.
I don't think I am. I think that, like, when you look over time and you see, you know, how societies have changed and how they've progressed and everything, I think that eventually we'll get to a point where people will be able to criticize.
Well, so let me ask you a question. Do you think some people are better at some things than others?
Sure.
Okay, so then in your utopian society, where would a smarter person fit in versus a not so smart person? Would there be hierarchies or no in your fictitious utopian Marxist society?
Okay, utopian society. Well, at that point, automation will have taken over enough so that the amount of people you have to what is to
Are you familiar with this thinking?
No, I'm very familiar. I'm trying to
thinking is that
No, trust me, I'm not asking to figure it out. I'm actually to deconstruct. Like, I don't actually think he believes this.
Well, I'm saying that because of the modern age, there is a new variable, right, which is automation.
Yeah.
So very familiar with it, but that will never get rid of hierarchy. So
for the 2020 elections, there's what's that name? There's a candidate who believes in the
the Asian American guy. Yeah. Very nice. But here's the thing. Karl Marx argued that in the 1870s, and we've had huge automation, and we still have hierarchy. So no matter how hard you try, some people are going to work harder at certain things and be more proficient at them than others, whether it be music, sports, anything. In the fictitious Marxist society, it means the complete total abolition of any sort of hierarchy whatsoever. And so that's something you would believe in. Okay, so that's anti how we're actually built as people. Some people are taller, some people are smarter, some people have higher IQs, some people have more drive. Only in a market-based society are those differences able to elevate the standard of living for all people and actually make some sense of a broken world. And there's been so many times that Marxist fictitious utopian communism has tried to be implemented. Over a short period of time, like the Paris Onion, it falls apart. Do you know why? Because human beings are inherently selfish. And so if you try to build a commune, for example, after 20 days, you're going to have one guy and say, no, I want 2 loaves of bread, not 1. And he might be smart enough to be able to figure out how to do that. Then all of a sudden there'll be a small subdivision that will break away from him and you have a conflict. The only reason we have a civil society in the West is in order to get 2 loaves of bread in the West, you have to earn it. You can't take it away from somebody else. That's where Marxist utopian fictitious communism breaks down.
This is an interesting topic. Sprung into class.
Thank you. I hope you learned something there.
Now, Grok confirmed this. I went and looked it up and confirmed it. I saw this last night, and I wanted to wait and check. And a whole bunch of corporate publications, a full day before Charlie was put out articles saying Charlie Kirk, but just the headline. And the people there were chanting, and we have the audio, you hear the crowd, the noise, and there's all the witnesses they were saying. It's kind of like, probably what on FM, but it's all over actually, you want to see it. And the cheering, yeah, once it happens, yeah, they're looking, yeah, yeah. And so I've got all the postings, and then there's this, and I'll play that and show you the stuff in a moment, but look at this. Let's put this on screen from Amazon. Put the full screen up, please. Why does Amazon have the by Anastasia J. Casey posted one day before he was, and then they updated it, and it's on the Internet Archive. That's been checked. It happened a day, September 9th. So it was already out there, and then they updated it today. When I saw this happen, and I got the report for Crowder from the ATF, it fit exactly in with what we saw 2 weeks ago in Minnesota, and this is their mentally ill army that they've literally launched. And I'm really glad that you remembered your old post on X about the Ron Paul event, talking to one of his donors, saying, oh man, he's worried Israel kill him. That's a real thing you got to worry about. He was really starting to go hard on Israel. So it needs to be investigated and looked at. But that's a whole separate area over there that needs to be investigated. But now that this is coming out, and now that his father turned him in, that's pointing again towards this. We need to be ready for more of these attacks. This is their day of rage. This is their movement. That this is what they've said they're going to do. This is the tip of the spear. Alexander Soros is funding it. I want to get to Trump's statement here, but I want to show you something first, okay? Now, Grok confirmed this. I went and looked it up and confirmed it. I saw this last night, and I wanted to wait and check. And a whole bunch of corporate publications, a full day before Charlie was shot, put out articles saying Charlie Kirk was, but just the headline. And the people there were chanting, and we have the audio, you hear the crowd, the noise, and there's all the witnesses they were saying. It's kind of like, it's like the crazy man that stabbed the Ukrainian girl in the throat. You got to listen real carefully, but he says twice, I got that white girl, but he's in a train, so you have to really listen carefully. But you can hear it in there. I don't know if it'll translate over AM radio out there, probably would on FM, but it's all over actually, you want to see it. And the cheering, yeah, once it happens, yeah, they're looking, yeah, yeah. And so I've got all the postings in the town and people that, hey, he's getting liquidated tomorrow. He's getting dissolved tomorrow. Something big's gonna happen. He's gonna go bye-bye. And then there's this, and I'll play that and show you the stuff in a moment, but look at this. Let's put this on screen from Amazon. Put the full screen up, please. Blow that up. Why does Amazon have the by Anastasia J. Casey posted one day before he was murdered, and then they updated it, and it's on the Internet Archive. That's been checked. It happened a day, September 9th. So it was already out there, and then they updated it today. Publication date, September 9th. The FBI needs to be knocking down some doors over there. So these people aren't playing games. And it was a big meme out there and we're going to Charlie Kirk. Now, guys, put that hashtag up that Rob told me about. There is a hashtag we'll show you in a moment. We'll just show the feed of it. On X and elsewhere, Rip Bozo. And there's a lot of people countering it now with praise, but it's other people celebrating it. We're partying. It's a great thing. Light up them cigars. Rest in piss. You won't be missed. So, yeah, just keep showing it. I mean, these are sick people. We'll show a compilation of them celebrating in a moment. But do you understand? Now let's show this video. Here it is, a comprehensive account of the Utah Valley University attack and aftermath and America's response. These people have a time machine? September 9th, The Utah, they're all there. Something big tomorrow. No police on the roof. What the hell is this? Now, it gets worse. Key West just asked, why does Amazon have the Anastasia case he posted one day before he was murdered? Now, this lady noticed, and people ask me, so I'm responding to them. Alex Jones, something for you to check out. Given this is right up your alley and you have the resources to do so. Wall Street Apes posted this a little while ago, and they're credible folks. We checked it, though. It's true. The New York Times and LA Times had articles published about Charlie Kirk being shot before he was. That's how they reported 3 hours before they caught Oswald, that it was Oswald in the Asian papers, because they got their times messed up. They reported WT7 was blown up an hour before it was blown up, exactly how it was blown up. Wall Street Apes posted this a little bit ago. The New York Times and LA Times had articles published about Charlie Kirk being shot before he actually was, screenshots and video posted. And Grok checked it and said it is accurate. Grok's findings are at the end of the video. Here is the video.
Those who are seeing this all about Charlie Kirk, first of all, I am devastated. I am stressed. I hope he's okay. I was just Googling this and something blew my mind. This just happened September 10th. If you look on Google right now, 19 hours ago, posted by New York Times and Los Angeles Times, 19 hours ago, saying Charlie Kirk was shot. 19 hours ago would have been September 9th. Today's the 10th. This doesn't make sense. 19 hours ago. 19 hours ago. Today is the 10th. This doesn't make sense. How could the New York Times and Los Angeles Times report 19 hours ago that he had been shot when this just happened September 10th? Am I crazy? Am I crazy?
Now, in a moment, we're going to play, these would be hours long, we played them all, but just some of the celebrations. And these people are doctors and lawyers and nurses and school teachers, mainly. It's a bunch of school teachers in Florida, New York, California, Texas. Just like they celebrated when the girls that were white drowned in the floods. White people, black people celebrating it. And then they don't know, everybody's just posting it, and then they're getting hundreds of calls at their businesses and they're all getting fired. Again, they're disconnected from reality. This is real violence. It's like the people cheering right up in the front row when his neck blows open and blood sprays, and they're like, yeah, like their team just scored a touchdown. Because they've never been in a fight, they've never been in any reality. To them, it's all a simulation, like because they're NPCs. And they're having these orgasmic events of celebration over all of this. They brainwash them that they're victims and you're not accepted, so you need to go out and kill kids and kill society. And when this crazy killed those kids a few weeks ago in Minnesota, people came out in mass and celebrated that as well. You Christians, you deserve this. You Catholics, these are sick people. And they find out they're grocery store managers and lawyers. And none of them know about killing. None of them know, but they sure want to go out and promote others doing it.
So on behalf of everybody else, I got this shit.
Charlie Kirk, and you know what kind of, no, that's not one.
I'm not saying she deserved it, but I'm saying God's timing is always right.
And goodness knows.
You support Charlie Kirk's shooter?
Sure do. He does all favors.
Would you somebody like Charlie Kirk?
I would have killed him myself.
Charlie Kirk, he wants to be pew-pew. That's why he fights so hard.
We got Charlie and that. Who's up next?
Empathy is dangerous to society, so no one should give a f that he's dead.
Seems somebody just took one of the Fantast's favorite 5-mile-wide mouthpieces, Charles Chuckle Kirk.
Yeah, I know that it's somewhat object of mockery to say thoughts and prayers, but thoughts and prayers for his family. They need it from all of us, and Jesse's right. If they could do this, they are capable of anything. I think that was the message. I believe that was the message. It's really hard to radicalize Republicans.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're not the radical type. But if you thought that you were going to shut a movement down, you're going to get a rude awakening. You woke us the fuck up.
And they're so emboldened. They believe they're the ruling class. The minions of it, the scum, believe they're our rulers. They believe our children belong to them. They believe our money belongs to them. They believe everything. And now because they see humanity waking up, it's the same all over the world, the left is going into their final form, which is where they were always taking us. So Charlie Kirk, a real man, a real hero in the information war. We salute him and his family. We pray for his family. We're going to support his family. And TPUSA is just going to get even stronger, getting all these young people to register to vote. Thousands and thousands of people showing up at colleges everywhere. They were so scared of him.
Welcome back, America. We're here with Dr. Thomas Sowell. The book is Social Justice Fallacies. I want to encourage you to go to Amazon.com and grab a copy. Any major bookstore should have a copy. And it is very reading, particularly now during these times. Dr. Sowell, when we talk about equality, immediately race pops into mind. It's always about race, racial discrimination, about the founding of the nation, white dominant society, so forth and so on. And you make the case, and you've made this case throughout your life, but it's very poignant in your book, which is, wait a minute, of course this has some impact, but it's not the only thing that has an impact. But why, first of all, what other things have an impact? It's probably an infinite list of things. And secondly, why do they only focus on race on the left?
I guess it's because that's proven to be a politically popular thing to do. But in point of fact, one of the things that's mentioned in the book is a study that was done by the New York Times, of all people, some years ago, where they tried to show the 10 poorest counties in the United States. And they mentioned which ones they were and so on. It turns out that 6 of those 10 counties had a population that was from 90% to 100% white. Now, in the New York Times, they didn't mention the race of the people, but once they told me the counties, I looked it up. And in fact, I followed the average income in those 6 counties over a span of 50 years. And in all those 50 years, all 6 of those counties had a median income lower than the median income of black Americans. Now, and so the people in those counties faced zero racism because they were white and indistinguishable from all other whites. They didn't have a legacy of slavery, and yet there they were. You have to ask then, clearly there must be other things that cause poverty. We can't just assume that because people of a given race have more poverty than some other people, must be the reason. But this has become the automatic kind of thing, and I think most people would be quite surprised. One of the things that happens is that behavior matters, and you see that in so many different ways. For example, I think most people would be surprised to learn that despite the fact that blacks as a whole have a higher poverty rate than whites as a whole, black married couple families have for more than a quarter of a century, every single year, had a poverty rate under 10%. And in most of those years, the national poverty rate was not as low as 10%. So it's not and you say, well, this is due to institutional racism. In that case, does that mean that the racists make an exception for blacks who are married? I mean, do racists either know or care whether blacks are married? None of these glib explanations stands up to the slightest empirical study.
And let's talk about this when it comes to minorities generally. You have an Asian population in this country that achieves a lot as a group, intellectually, education-wise, and they are discriminated against by these Ivy League colleges, by Harvard. We just had a Supreme Court decision and so forth, the way Jews were 100 years earlier, by Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and so forth. So the people who push this race issue, is it that they really care about black people or Asian people or Jewish people, or is it that it's just another wedge issue to try and destroy this culture and destroy this society?
There are some people who are both. Some really believe it, and I feel sorry for them. But there are some who really don't care. If it gets them elected, that's what matters. And this is one of the tragedies of trying to politicize race. There are so many fallacies that it's hard to even know which one to take up. But for example, the great narrative is that blacks rose from poverty, got into professional occupations as a result of the 1960s social welfare programs. And that this has been a big benefit. One of the problems with this way of looking at things is that everything depends on when you pick as the start of this trend. If you go back to 1940, that is 20 years before these wonderful things are supposed to have happened in the 1960s, and you discover that the degree to which blacks were in poverty declined from 87% in 1940 to 47% in 1960. So it went down by 40 points in those 20 years. Now you look at the 20 years following 1960, they went down 18 points. And so the trend did not begin in the 1960s. The trend was there before then, and the trend did not even accelerate after 1960. Many people think that it would all began with the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Well, that was a fine act to get rid of the segregation laws in the South. But the cold fact is that the percentage of blacks who had professional occupations doubled from 1954 to 1964. That is in the decade ending at the time that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was passed. If you look at the things that are negative, like, for example, black children being raised in single-parent households. In 1940, just under 17% of black kids were raised in one-parent families. But after 1960s, before the end of the century, 4 times that many, 68% of black kids were being raised in one-parent families. And that does not depend on racism or any of the other things they talk about. It depends upon things that happened due to the policies of the 1960s, which are still going forward.
Which encourage the dissolution of the family. It's just unbelievable. Dr. Sowell, when we return, my big question for you is, as a nation, where do we go from here? And how do we start down that road? We'll be right back.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page.
Psychotic left and the shooter were desperate to silence Charlie Kirk's voice. And this is a way of saying that this young man had a huge voice and a huge impact on young people. And he provided a vehicle and a forum through Turning Point to galvanize these young people, to make these young people feel represented on campuses where they were often ostracized, ignored, belittled. In other words, there is a leftist ideology regnant on the campus, pushed by the professors and the administrators and the deans. And so conservative students, MAGA students, feel besieged. Well, Charlie Kirk was their voice, their spokesman, their hero. And I think that's why they wanted to shut down his voice. Obviously, it's our job now to make sure that that voice is not shut down, that voice is amplified. Now, we are not very good in the amplification business, and what I mean by this is that if you look at the aftermath of George Floyd, and think about it, George Floyd was a criminal, he was a degenerate. Derek Chauvin, whatever you think of that episode, and I've discussed it in some detail in the past, Derek Chauvin was legitimately trying to restrain the guy. So Derek Chauvin didn't set out to, I'm going to kill this guy. Derek Chauvin was doing what police are supposed to do. Now, did he apply excessive force? I'll leave that aside for the moment. The point I'm trying to get at is that there is a chasm, a world of difference between Derek Chauvin and George Floyd and this political assassination of a guy, a young man, a friend, a guy who was just out there to take questions and engage issues. And yet, in the aftermath of George Floyd, what did you see? You saw a memorial service that sounded like it was for a head of state. You saw mass demonstrations. You saw innumerable calls to action. You saw over-the-top memorials, statues, proclamations, genuflections, Nancy Pelosi. So the left specializes in this. They can even take a thug and elevate him to a certain canonized status. And what I'm trying to say is we kind of need to do the same here. We need to do what Charlie Kirk would have done. And Charlie Kirk, look, his great strength, in my opinion, was his immense political instinct and political talent. He had a feel for that, and he had a feel for how to capitalize on an occasion, frame an issue, take advantage of it. He was talking about the young Ukrainian woman who was killed in the train car in North Carolina. And basically, Charlie Kirk was like, guess what? We have to turn this into a cause celeb. We have to make hay, so to speak, to do what? For the good purpose of stopping this kind of crime in blue cities. Democrats have normalized it. They seem to some degree even to want it. We are in a position to raise public awareness and to stop it. And Charlie also said that there's a kind of assassination culture that is developing on the left. What an ironic thing for him to have posted not very long before that culture came right back to haunt him. What I'm suggesting is that we push for a monument on the Mall, a Medal of Freedom, a national holiday. We do what the left did to turn this episode, to make it self-defeating for the guy who killed Charlie Kirk. He thought he was shutting down Charlie Kirk's voice. He thought he was shutting down the MAGA voice. And look, to some degree, he succeeded, right? Charlie Kirk's voice has been shut down. We will not be hearing from Charlie Kirk again. Other MAGA thinkers, speakers, influencers have got to think twice, me included. I can't tell you how many messages Debbie and I have gotten already. Watch it, be careful. Do you guys have security? Don't do public events like this, and on and on and on. And it's not just me. We have a son-in-law, Brandon Gill. He's outspoken. He's Charlie's age. So if the shooter wanted to issue a shot across the bow, as they say, a warning, you could be next, that message has in fact gone out there. So it's going to take work in order to combat it, and for us to amplify our voices more than ever. But that is exactly what needs to be done. Now, I have so much to say about all this, and probably I can only cover a few things right now, but I'll start with a tribute from Melania Trump, which I don't think as many people have seen. People have seen the Trump statement, which was about Charlie's great impact on American politics, maybe even on world politics. But Melania Trump gives a beautiful tribute to his family, and I want to read it. Charlie's children will be raised with stories instead of memories, photographs instead of laughter, and silence where their father's voice should have echoed. Wow. It goes on, but the essence of it is right there. The impact of this goes way beyond Charlie. It goes way beyond even ultimately his family. it affects our whole society. Now, sure enough, we see all kinds of voices attempting to grab onto this incident and interpret it to their own benefit. Here is David Hale, who describes himself as a concerned Republican. This is a kind of anti-Trump Republican, an anti-MAGA Republican. He has a photo of Mitt Romney shaking hands with Obama. He goes, "Our politics must become this again if we are to survive as a country." He wants us to go back to Romney. And I comment, spoken like a true moron. This is the handshake of the weak and the diabolical that has brought us to where we are now. In other words, it is precisely this pact in which the Democrats are allowed the upper hand, they get to win the election, and Romney becomes the gracious loser. This is what has given the left and the Democrats the idea that they are above the law, they can function with impunity. We are the party of the namby-pambies and the wimps. And I think what David Hale is concerned about is that Charlie Kirk's assassination is going to push the Republican Party further right. It's going to toughen the spine of the Republican Party. MAGA is already tough. MAGA doesn't need to be toughened, but the GOP does, because the GOP, by and large, has been the party of the sluggish, the indifferent, the let's do it tomorrow, the I don't know, we don't want to resemble the bad guys, and on and on and on. But here's the left. This is a New York comedian, Rahul Pandya. Isn't it just so refreshing to finally see an assassination pulled off successfully this time? This is to him a joke. And I would say it is intended half-jokingly, which is to say that there's a serious point he's trying to make. He's actually pleased that the assassination was pulled off. And he's implying that, gee, things could have gone better for our side in Butler, Pennsylvania. Our guy missed. But this time, he didn't miss. He's very professional. This is the voice of the left. Now, I'm not saying everybody on the left is doing it, but enough people are to raise concern, because think about it. You don't need to radicalize the entire Democratic Party to create an atmosphere of violence. Let's say you radicalize 10%. That would be more than enough. We, by the way, make this point about the radical Muslims, right? You don't have to radicalize the entire 2.5 billion Muslims in the world. Let's say you radicalize 10% of them. Well, how much is that? 250 million Muslims? That's going to be a sufficiently serious, parlous, global threat. Most people over 62 have tens of thousands of dollars in home equity, but that wealth is only paper value unless you sell or take out a mortgage, and traditional mortgages require monthly payments. Movement Mortgage offers a home equity conversion.
Let me just ask you first for your reaction to the horrible news. I know you've said that Charlie was like a brother to you.
He was. I honestly have no words to describe it. I got the call yesterday and I was in shock. I mean, it's the third time I've got that call in a little over a year about, a close friend or loved one, almost being killed, because that was when we didn't actually know what was going on yet. And so obviously a lot of mix of emotions. Then we got a report, that, hey, he's getting blood, it may be stable. Then 20 minutes later, we got the news that he didn't make it. And so it was a really rough day for someone who's been a very close friend, confidant, incredible warrior for the things that we all believe in for a very long period of time. So it's been hard.
Can you talk about the beginning of your relationship and how you got to know him?
It's actually sort of funny. And you remember these days because I was doing your show back on Fox News at the time. And a couple friends came up to me and said, "Hey, you got to meet this guy. He knows so much about politics. He wants to help out." And, I'm like, "Okay, give me some more information." Because, at the time we didn't know anything. We didn't know what was going on. We had, no idea about politics. I didn't know what a caucus was when we got to Iowa. It was, we were clueless. And, they're like, "Okay, well, he's 20 years old." And I was like, just stop. Just stop. Like I go, if I need another person that doesn't know what's going on, like I can just go to the room next door. Like there is no shortage. There's no shortage of people who don't know what the hell's going on right now working on this thing. We just had a good message. We had people that could speak. And they were like, no, trust me on this one. They're good friends. So I took the meeting reluctantly, and I sat down with Charlie Kirk for the first time. This must have been, I guess, end of 15. And in 5 minutes, I was like, oh my God, this kid's brilliant. I mean, this kid himself could be president one day. I saw a talent, perhaps, that's maybe my knack in politics, whether it was Charlie or JD or a couple of the others. It's like, wait a second, I saw something there, and I was like, just congratulations, you're on my team. I think Turning Point had a $1 million operating budget that year, and in the decade since, I mean, pushing 200 million. The guy was just incredible, and from that day, I mean, he literally for the rest of the 16 campaign was basically with me every day, fundraising, speaking, getting coffee. It didn't matter. There was no task that was beneath him. There was nothing there. He was just an incredible guy and a true warrior. And to watch how he's matured and had matured, even since then, is nothing short of astounding.
The amount of growth that he had over the next 9 years was just exponential. I mean, I can't think of anybody else who matched it in terms of their influence, their success, his growth as a man, as an orator, as a compelling public figure whose opinion mattered at all levels. At all levels, he had the president of the United States listening to him, down to my 14-year-old daughter. I mean, there's just not many people who can say that. Why, Don? What was it about him?
You know what? He could just relate to people. He could take complex things and explain them simply. He did so kindly as well. I mean, even his biggest detractors, I mean, on a daily basis, Charlie Kirk gave them a platform to debate these ideas. He gave them his platform that he actually worked for and created. He let them speak, and he calmly, he'd push back with ideas, with words. And, I say, when they talk about him being a threat, and you have all these, left-wing radical funded NGOs labeling him, domestic terrorist and these sorts of things. He wasn't a threat. Charlie was the kindest person I probably knew. I mean, Charlie was certainly the calmest, in many cases, the least aggressive of all the people, I know in politics. Mm-hmm. And, I guess his quote was, "When discourse ends, violence begins." That was his quote. And they killed him for it, Megyn. They fucking killed him. He gave them a platform. I guess the problem was, his real threat wasn't anything other than he was so effective. He gave them that platform. He'd push back with words and ideas. And in minutes, you'd see this on a college campus, some radical giving, just insane, leftist talking points, and he'd push back, and, they were left speechless. Many of them, they'd walk away just humbled, and I think half of them probably became believers. But the people who came to hear him speak, the people who went in there with an open mind, they were like, oh, this is right. The indoctrination that we've dealt with since probably kindergarten is bullshit. The stuff that we're being force-fed by our college professors is absolute nonsense. And I remember that. I was doing college campus tours with him in 16. And even me, and I'm, I don't exactly shy away from these things. I was, wow, we're really going to go on a college campus? Like, okay, let's see what happens. And it was incredible. I remember one of the early ones we did. I think it was the University of Michigan. We get to Michigan and we get there, and of course the university makes it very difficult for us to get a room. So we three times oversold. They won't let us even have a platform, and then they got to make sure all the radicals get in. And I remember we're going to go on stage, and the Michigan State Police pulled us aside They were there not because we had them, but they were just monitoring all of it. And they basically pulled me and Charlie aside and said, "Hey guys, we can't stop you from going out there, but we can't guarantee your safety, and we think it's a bad idea. You should cancel." And Charlie and I both sort of simultaneously looked at us and we're like, kicking them, give them that win and be silenced. And we went out there and we pushed back, and we had the haters and we had the protesters, and we went at them kindly with words. And you could see the entire dynamic of the room. It went from being, probably 60-40 leftist to like 90-10, 95-5 when people were like, wait a second, like, let these guys have a conversation, let them speak. And you could see the shift in the room. And Charlie did that day in and day out for 9 years till yesterday, when he was killed doing just that. And he changed so many minds. He got people to be unafraid to speak up and to speak out and to actually voice their opinion and to embrace common sense. It's truly a loss for our country.
Have you gotten to speak with Erica or his family at all, Don?
You know what? I haven't. I called pretty immediately. Erica actually called back while I was with Bettina. And, she called her back. Somehow it didn't go through, whatever it was. We saw the missed call, but nothing. And we tried calling back. But in that time was when we found out, it went from shot to stable and maybe okay to he had passed. And so we have not yet, unfortunately. And so, we obviously sent notes and whatever, but that's not going to matter much. What's going to matter to him in the end is going to be preserving the legacy of what he's created and not going away, not going to cower in a corner and die. We just got to fight back.
That's exactly right. I mean, I'll get to that in 1 second. Let me ask you about your dad, because he said he's going to speak with, I think, the family, Erica, I think, later today. He mentioned that this morning at a 9/11 remembrance event, and also announced that he's going to award Charlie the Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously. He also ordered the staff, the flags to go at half staff, which is very unusual for a private citizen. Can you talk about what Charlie meant to your dad?
A lot. I mean, I think, Charlie single-handedly, other than my father, I guess, would have been the single-handed most important player of the last election cycle, and probably, frankly, 2020 as well. I mean, the gains were being made, but I mean, I think he single-handedly won Arizona for us, probably Michigan, probably Wisconsin as well. Moved, the youth vote 20-plus points. And again, that's not just youth vote to 18-year-olds. This is the 18 to 29 people who could actually vote. So significantly. I mean, especially the male. I mean, the male vote. Like a 40-point swing towards common sense and American values and decency. And what were the things that they hated Charlie for speaking about? I mean, for loving God, your country. As you pointed out in your monologue, sort of men can't be women. I mean, this isn't exactly rocket science or anything that's all that controversial. He was just willing to say those things that were verboten for so many people for so long. He made it okay for them. So for my father, he meant a lot. I spoke to I don't know for sure, but I think, sort of unbeknownst to me, I think, my father was calling me, and I had just heard, from Charlie's team that was on the ground when it passed. So I think he may have heard it directly, sort of from me first. And he called me back later on that evening, and we're just, talking about it and how much he meant to my father and how good a fighter he was. And my father truly recognized his genius and his excellence, his work ethic, everything. It was amazing.
That's the thing, is like Charlie had a seat at the table. He had real influence in the administration with you guys, and all of it was earned. At just 31 years old, people recognized what a savant this kid was and how special he was, and his truly genius-like abilities to understand the seams in the story and to communicate with a group that had been totally ignored by all Republicans, Don, until Charlie came along and said, let's fight for them. Why not try to get the youth vote? Maybe we can get it.
100%. I mean, and again, when it's coming from, your peers, Charlie was of that age. Charlie was younger than most college students when he was speaking on college campuses and started doing that when we started doing it. He recognized, Megan, that, we can scream in our echo chamber as much as we want, and, everyone can nod along because they agree with what you're saying. But he understood how important it was to, go to the places we weren't supposed to be and have that conversation and have that discourse. He went into the lion's den more than anyone. And again, when you're that age, it's a little bit more effective than sending, an 85-year-old establishment politician who can't possibly relate, doesn't understand social media, doesn't do his own, doesn't feel the vibe of what's going on. Charlie did those things. I was looking through photos yesterday, and it was pretty heart-wrenching. But I went back down to election day of 2016, and Charlie was in my office at Trump Tower in New York. And he's there, and it's a picture of him on my computer because I was doing radio, I was doing TV. He wasn't really even yet a presence, in sort of that digital media. Obviously had a social following, but was just starting. I remember, screaming at some of your colleagues on Fox News back in that year, be like, "Put this kid on! I'm telling you, he's really good." I had that conversation with Sean Hannity. I think the first time he was like, "What? I can't. I'm not putting on a kid. Like, what do you?" I'm like, "Just trust me, please, for the love of God, put him on." And he did, and that was it. He just went like a rocket ship from there. And I have this picture. He was literally sitting on my desktop with access to my Twitter account, just putting out just the tweets, mobilizing people here, whatever message was going to work in whatever place was coming, literally as the time zones were shutting down, because, the polls closed on the East Coast at whatever it was, 7 o'clock. Well, now we're switching to the Central time zone, and I'm getting on radio, and I think I did 100-something radio interviews that day. So he was manning the social feed, and it was just, you could see the willingness to just step into any role, any position, anywhere that he could move a needle. He just jumped in wholeheartedly.
He was doing it this election too, saying, "I don't like what I'm seeing in Michigan," or he would pick the state and send out tweets, and we would all amplify them, letting people know, like, you need to get out. Like, this one's tight. Like, don't take anything for granted. He fought to the last minute and obviously had great results in 24. When inflation jumps, when you hear the national debt is over $37 trillion, do you ever think maybe now would be a good time to buy some gold? Well, you'd be right. Whether as a hedge against inflation, peace of mind during global instability, or just for sensible diversification, Birch Gold Group believes every American should own physical gold. And so they created something special. Until September 30th, if you're a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Before we begin, let me express the horror and grief so many Americans at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk have felt. Charlie was a giant of his generation, a champion of liberty, and an inspiration to millions and millions of people. Our prayers are with his wonderful wife, Eric, and his beautiful children. Fantastic people they are. We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the hearts of countless people, especially young people, will live on. I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The date of the ceremony will be announced, and I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will have a very big crowd, very, very big. Thank you, my fellow Americans. 84 years ago this morning, the banks of the Potomac were filled with the clamor of construction workers who broke ground on the building now known as the Pentagon on September 11th, 1941. At the time, it was the biggest building ever built. From that moment forward, this structure stood as a monument to American strength, power, and cherished American freedom. Exactly 6 decades later, on September 11th, 2001, those same walls, built with the sweat and muscle, blood of our parents and grandparents, were scarred by flame and shaken by terror as our country came face to face with pure evil. On that fateful day, savage monsters attacked the very symbols of our civilization. Yet here in Virginia and in New York and in the skies over Pennsylvania, Americans did not hesitate. They stood on their feet and they showed the world that we will never yield, we will never bend, we will never give up, and our great American flag will never, ever fail. That terrible morning 24 years ago, time itself stood still. The laughter of school children fell silent. The rush of our traffic came to an absolute halt. And for 2,977 innocent souls and their families, the entire world came crashing down so suddenly. In the quarter of a century since those acts of mass murder, 9/11 family members have felt the weight of missed birthdays and empty bedrooms, journals left unfinished, and dreams left unfulfilled. To every member that still feels a void every day of your lives, the First Lady and I unite with you in sorrow. And today, as one nation, we renew our sacred vow that we will never forget September 11th, 2001. Amid the horror of that morning, some used cell phones and office lines to whisper their final words to those who mattered most. They whispered indeed. At 8:59 a.m. aboard United Flight 175, Brian Sweeney called his wife, Julie. He told her, "Do good, go have good times. I totally love you. I'll see you again. I'll meet you up there." 4 minutes later, his plane hit the south tower of the World Trade Center. At 9:12 a.m. aboard American Airlines Flight 77, Renee May called her mom. Just the day before, Renee had learned that she was 7 weeks pregnant, but she never got the chance to share the news. She simply said, "I love you, Mom." 25 minutes later, Renee's plane struck the Pentagon. So violent, a strike it was. At 9:53 a.m. aboard United Flight 93, Elizabeth Waineo called her stepmom. They're getting ready to break into the cockpit. What do? I love you so much. They're going to break in. 10 minutes later, Flight 93 ended in the hallowed field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. At 10:25 a.m., Tom McGinnis was trapped on the 92nd floor of the North Tower when he told his wonderful wife, Elena, on the phone, there are people jumping from the floors above us. If we get out of here, it'll be a total miracle. I love you, darling. Take care of Caitlin, beautiful daughter. 3 minutes later, the tower fell. Out of the ash, we witnessed the awesome power of that incredible love. We've seen it rise again. Out of the wreckage, we watched unbelievable courage suddenly take form. And out of the darkness, we saw the timeless truth of American character shine for the world to see. In America, we take blows, but we never buckle. We bleed, but we do not bow. And we defy the fear, endure the flames, and emerge from the crucible of every hardship stronger, prouder, and greater than ever before. Last year, we were a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. In New York, there were heroes like Chuck Costello, a 46-year-old elevator mechanic and a member of the Knights of Columbus. He selflessly ran into the World Trade Center to free people trapped in the elevators. His body was not found until the following January, deep under the debris. While going through his belongings, Chuck's widow, Mary, a phenomenal woman, discovered a personal prayer written in his own words, "Help me to light the way for those in the dark, and when I enter the darkness, let me not panic, but patiently wait to remember the light." Beautiful words. When the time came, Chuck ran boldly into the darkness of hell on earth, and now he shines in the light of heaven above. We remember him this morning. That day we learned that the American heroic spirit was all around us. We saw it in the police officers, the great firefighters, the service members here at the Pentagon, and in the hearts of every American who answered history's call. One such hero was Army Sergeant First Class Steve Workman, who was on the edge of the impact zone when this incredible Pentagon was hit. He was right there. After leading hundreds of people to escape routes, Steve turned back and plunged into the inferno itself. Pushing through the debris, he came upon a severely burned Navy lieutenant, the only survivor from the Navy Command Center. Only one. The wounded lieutenant looked into Steve's soul and said, "Don't let me die." Steve replied, "I won't. I've got you. Just hang on." He wheeled the lieutenant out of the wreckage on the back of a maintenance cart before getting in the ambulance and taking him to Walter Reed Hospital. That man Steve saved, Lieutenant Kevin Schaefer, went on to join the elite team of CIA operatives who located Osama bin Laden. Steve, you're an American hero. We appreciate it. We appreciate what you've gone through. Please stand. Please stand. Where are you? Oh, good-looking man. You're a good-looking guy. You remember that day. You remember that day. Good. Thank you very much, Steve. That was something. That was something. In the years that followed, America's warriors avenged our fallen and sent an unmistakable message to every enemy around the world. If you attack the United States of America, we will hunt you down and we will find you. Go all over this sometimes magnificent earth. We will crush you without mercy and we will triumph without question. That's why we named the former Department of Defense the Department of War. It will be different. We won the First World War. We won the Second World War. We won everything before that and in between. And then we decided to change the name. Well, now we have it back to where we all want it. Everybody wanted it. Everybody is so happy to have it back. You will fail and America will win, win, win. The enemy will always fail. 24 years have passed since that Tuesday morning in September, and an entire generation of Americans have come of age in a totally different world. While they cannot remember the agony of that day, they are carrying on the legacy of those who lost. Around 8:30 a.m. on the morning of the attacks, Army Lieutenant Colonel Kip Taylor sent an email to his friends and family describing the joys of fatherhood and his excitement for the upcoming birth of his unborn son. He wrote, "After you have kids, there are days that you just get going and you say, 'Hi, honey, I'm home.' What we do until that moment pales in comparison, but just that little statement, 'Hi, honey,' so American, so beautiful." But that's really the point of it all, isn't it? An hour after he sent that email, Flight 77 flew into Colonel Taylor's Pentagon office and claimed the life of a very proud father and true patriot. 6 weeks later, on October 25th, 2001, Colonel Taylor's son, Luke, was born. Luke then tragically lost his mom to cancer when he was just 2 years old, leaving him to be raised by his father's brother. As a young boy, Luke asked his uncle about the folded flag on the bookshelf, and when he learned about his dad's decades of devotion to the Army and the horrors of September 11th, that's when he learned. Luke carried that memory with him and joined the ROTC as a college freshman. He graduated just last year, and I'm pleased to say he is with us today as a second lieutenant and doing very well. He's rising quickly in the infantry, preparing for Army Ranger School. The spitting image of his dad, they say, Luke says that every time he puts on a uniform, he feels connected to his father and to our country. But it was a father he never knew. Luke, your parents are together in heaven, and they could not be prouder of the man that they have produced. They produced you. Those two great people produced you. Luke, please stand. Thank you. You look good, Luke. You look good. They're looking down on you. They're very proud. This morning, we recall the light of America's best and bravest and the love that they showed in their final moments. In their memory, we make a solemn pledge and a noble promise. We will honor always our great heroes, and you are our heroes. There's a group of people that don't want to talk about our heroes, but we will always talk about our heroes, and that's the way our country is, and that's the way the people feel. We will defend the nation they served, the values they upheld, and the freedom for which they died. We will support our troops, we will protect our families, and we will preserve the American way of life for every future generation. We will build taller, grow stronger, fight harder, and soar higher. And together we will go forward as one people with one heart, one fate, one flag, and one glorious destiny under Almighty God. May God bless the memories of those who died and the heroes who fought and the soldiers who still stand watch. May God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
No, no. Only the eyes of a chief may see the Eid Plebnista.
This was not written for chiefs.
What's your read not written for chiefs? Of course there is for chief. Well,
Hear me. Hear this! Among my people, we carry many such words as this from many lands, many worlds. Many are equally good and are as well respected. But wherever we have gone, no words have said this thing of importance in quite this way. Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words proudly saying, "We the people." That which you called Eid Plebnista was not written for the chiefs or the kings or the warriors or the rich or the powerful, but for all the people. Down the centuries, you have slurred the meaning out of the words, "We, the people of the United States," in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution. These words and the words that follow were not written only for the Yangs, but for the Coms as well.
The Coms?
They must apply to everyone, or they mean nothing. Do you understand?
I do not fully understand. One named Kirk. But the holy words will be obeyed. I swear it.
Beautiful post reminding us of what is lost here. This was on X. She said Charlie's children will be raised with stories instead of memories, photographs instead of laughter, and silence where their father's voice should have echoed. Charlie Kirk's life should serve as a symbolic reminder that compassionate awareness elevates family, love, and country.
And you know that does, if you don't mind me just saying this, Lawrence, she also had, after the Butler assassination attempt, she wasn't talking about a president. He was talking about he's a father and a husband. So we almost lost a father. Like, she humanizes it with the family and not with titles.
Because he was a human being. And I think that's what the First Lady, I think we look at these politicians, you put them on a pedestal and these people, first of all, he wasn't even a politician. He was a dad trying to mobilize young people. And when you put it that way, these people have feelings. They have families. And you just robbed a young dad of those memories with his children. The Vice President of the United States, who was very close to Charlie Kirk, had this to say on X. When I became the VP nominee, something Charlie advocated for both in public and private, Charlie was there for me. I was so glad to be a part of the president's team, but candidly surprised by the effect it had on our family. Our kids, especially our oldest, struggled with the attention and the constant presence of protective detail. I felt this acute sense of guilt that I had conscripted my kids into this life without getting their permission. And Charlie was constantly calling and texting, checking on our family and offering guidance and prayer. Some of our most successful events were organized not by the campaign, but by Turning Point USA. He wasn't just a thinker, he was a doer, turning big ideas into bigger events with thousands of activists. And after every event, he would give me a big hug, tell me he was praying for me, and ask me what he could do. You focus on Wisconsin, he'll tell me. Arizona is in the bag. And it was. I was in a meeting in the West Wing when those group chats started lighting up, people telling Charlie that they were praying for him. And that's how I learned the news that my friend had been shot. I prayed a lot over the next hours as first good news and then bad trickled in. God didn't answer those prayers, and that's okay. He had other plans. And now that Charlie is in heaven, I'll ask him to talk to the big man directly on the behalf of his family, his friends, and the country he loved so dearly. You ran a good race, my friend. We got it from here.
Reminds you of that scripture. When you come to the end of your life, you want God to say, you ran a great race. You ran the race. You ran it valiantly. And Charlie did. Charlie is, what an impact at 31 years old. Where were you at 31 years old? You know, we didn't have an impact like Charlie did. God had his hand on his life. And now we know where he is. He's in heaven. His faith meant the world to him. And he was co-hosting Fox and Friends on the weekend of a month and a half ago. So keep in mind, Pete Hegseth went on to work for the administration. And then Will Cain, 4 o'clock, was moved to the 4 o'clock show. So we had 2 open spots on the weekend show. And Charlie Hurt took one of those spots with Rachel Campos-Duffy. And Charlie Kirk was filling in with Charlie Hurt. So they had this quiz, the Charlie versus Charlie quiz. Watch this.
Which Charlie skipped class to do a news interview? Okay, that's definitely got to be Charlie Kirk.
Oh!
I mean, Charlie Hurt.
Yes. No, nice.
It was you, Charlie.
My first ever TV appearance, I skipped class to go on Fox and Friends.
Really?
Yep. So it all has come full circle, from guest to guest host. It was back when I was a senior in high school. It was all about launching the Students Against Cookie Inflation. You know, we were all about.
Was it really about the
It was
cookie
about like
inflation
three or four different topics. People can go back in the archives and get it.
How had they found you? What?
We reached out. We were,
Hey,
you were
we gotta
shilling
yourself.
Oh, 100%. Hey, you got to have hustle. You got to have grind. You got to.
You know what I'm seeing? You know why I'm getting all of these wrong? Because you two actually have so much in common.
Hey guys, what's up? Happy September. I was thinking about Charlie Kirk. I've been thinking about him some the past few days, and not even just thinking about him, just feeling the heaviness of the assassination, of the murder. You know, just how everybody saw it and how severe it was. And it left me, obviously it's horrific and it's heartbreaking. And I didn't know Charlie, you know. I know we had different views on a lot of things. I wasn't in his world a lot. But I admired that he was brave. He went out and had conversations in, you know, he kind of like he tweeted with his feet, you know. He went, instead of just yelling from, you know, from a desk or something, or, you know, like most podcasters, we're sitting in a room saying stuff and then putting it out. He went out into the world. And I really admired that. I do admire it. And it just left me feeling so like, just kind of broken. A part of me, I don't even know what part of me feels kind of broken. And I don't know if it's about, you know, that it's because someone is sharing their point of views, or that someone's, you know, that free speech is getting gunned down, or if, you know, I don't know exactly why it feels like it affected me so much. You know, of course, that sort of thing affects you. It happens a lot in the world these days. And I think maybe just the severity of it, how just graphic it seemed and was, you know. And sorry, my hair's so it's like, I've been helping my buddy. I'm doing playing a character in this haunted house, so we've been practicing. But yeah, there was just something about it. It's just left me scared, first of all. You know, and maybe that's selfish to think that, but it left me scared. You know, because a lot of people go out and put themselves out in front of the public, and we all do. We do it when we walk down the street. We do it when we take our dog to the dog park. You do it when, you know, if you step on a stage and read a poem or sing a song or anything. And that's kind of, I think that's what it was. It's like, it just like, that's supposed to be something that's kind of safe, right? To be able to have a voice, to say something. And whether people may agree with it or not. I didn't know Charlie. I'd never gotten to meet him. I didn't know. I know we had different beliefs on some things. I didn't know a lot of his stuff, you know. But, excuse me. But I did admire that he was brave. That he showed up to have conversations. And it just like, it was such a final and sick and distant thing. It was from so far away. And maybe that's it, that somebody so far away can shut you down without ever having even like looked at you in the eyes or in person or shaking your hand or anything. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't even know why I'm like kind of speaking up about it. Maybe, I don't know. I think I'm trying to figure out. I mean, it scared me. You know, it made me kind of scared. It made me really scared. Yeah, and my prayers to his family and to people that knew him and loved him. But yeah, there's supposed to be a thing where you can get up on a stage and share something, right? You can get into a public place and people would come to see an art or to jeer at an art. I think a lot of people that came to him came because they wanted to combat him with arguments or whatever, do the opposite argument. Yeah, and I think it's just a culmination of that sort of things become so prevalent in our society. Like that video was so horrific. And you're just like, it just felt like that this can't happen anymore. You know, but you don't know what to do. And I don't know, most people, or maybe I don't know, I think that, yeah, people are always like, you want to at least have a certain level of like, what's fair. And it just seems so unfair. And so cowardly. Like, if there is a microphone there and he's there to debate, go and debate him. You know, go speak your piece. Whether the crowd agrees or if whoever kind of wins the debate or whatever, I don't know if that matters. What matters is that you like kind of try and share whatever you're thinking or feeling. And maybe there's people that don't feel like they have a place to do that. I don't know. But to go that far away, not even have the balls to go to the microphone or to, I think something about that makes me sick. That's what it is. I think it's made me feel sick. And feeling like there's like, it feels like some people in the world, like some like dark and powerful people know what's going on and they're not telling the rest of us. I think that feels like what's happening sometimes. And I don't know if I'm the only person that's feeling that. I feel like they all know something that's happening. It always feels like there's something bigger and eviler in the distance hiding behind something that's kind of laughing a little. And, yeah, and this just felt like the pinnacle of the horn of whatever creature that is, kind of. Or yeah, I don't know, something like that. Yeah, and I think it's scary. It's like, yeah, it's like, where is safe? Where is safe? Where is safe? How is like a dad or a parent who send their kids to school supposed to feel like they're in a safe place? They used to think things were safe. You know? Or maybe I don't know, maybe it never felt like that. But I don't know, it used to feel like things were safe somehow. And that that other people had a respect for safety. And maybe that still is there. And maybe this is just such a moment that feels so intense. Yeah, and I don't know. And nobody has to hear what I want to say or whatever. I'm not like, I don't know anything. I'm just, I don't know. I've had this feeling. It's just been like, man, why is this hitting me so hard? Somebody that I don't know. Right. And yeah, I guess that's some of the feelings that I'm kind of surfing on a little bit. Is that it felt cowardly. At least come and meet me here. And don't like me. That's okay. I can handle that if you're here and you disagree with me and you don't like me. I can handle that. But to do it from way over there, And it's the same type of, you see it in other places around the world and we're just sick of watching it. We're sick of watching kind of someone far away decide if someone that they're okay or they're and eliminating their life, you know? We're sick of feeling that, or I'm sick of feeling, like it's unsafe out there. I don't know. I think I'm kind of rambling now, but yeah. So I felt, I think I felt some relief today that they caught this guy, if that's the guy that did it. I didn't get to read a ton about it. But there's still this bigger feeling of, like, what happens? What stage is safe? What place is safe to stand up and share how you feel or to share something? And maybe that's a negative attitude. I don't know. I think a lot of it is just like, it's just overwhelming. It's overwhelming where it's like, when do we have to stop watching murders on our phone? When do they start to curtail these algorithms? Like, aren't these companies who own these algorithms, is there no responsibility for them? Is there no responsibility for if they're feeding someone and getting them indoctrinated into ideas by just serving them the same thing over and over again? Yeah, I don't know. But that feels so, like, I don't know who this shooter guy was. Like, you know, they said his name, but I don't know anything else about him. Oh, God, I gotta wash my hair. But, yeah, I don't know anything else about the guy, but I'm guessing it was probably someone who watched so much of the same thing, and this algorithm just serves you the same. And then it's like they fucking fill you with, it's like you go to Build-A-Bear and you just put the fucking grossest stuff, and the bear's full, right? And they just keep that machine on that's just firing fucking Satan cotton into this thing, and it can't handle it anymore. And then it just does something that's just like an expression of like being soaked in whatever vitriol or violence or anger has been put into them, you know? I don't know. And maybe I'm not saying there's no personal responsibility, but, and I don't even know if that's what happened. So I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling, but yeah, I just wanted to, I think, say something. I wanted to think out loud. You know, I used to do that on this show more often, and it's been hard for me to, like, get my thoughts sometimes, but yeah, this just made me scared. It made me scared. And it just like, yeah, and I don't feel like I'm the only one. I know I'm not. I know that people are feeling something. Sometimes I can't even say exactly what it is I'm feeling. And I don't even know if I've said it here talking about it, but I feel it just like something feels very, something feels very fragile right now. I feel like, so, safety to anybody who is trying to, you know, I think it's just like, yeah, you just want to go out into the world, you know? And you want to be able to be okay, and you want your friends and family to be able to do the same thing, and for people to have a fair fight. And maybe that's not reality. Maybe I live in some, you know, romanticalized idea of a place I never even lived in. You know? I don't know. And Halloween's coming up, and it's like we're training over in my buddy's haunted house, and I'm like, dude, I feel safer in there with the ghouls. At least I know who's behind this mask. You know, it's like I was walking out of there today, and I'm like, fuck, dude, like just walking across a parking lot, just things feel kind of, intense. And when that happens, it takes away your ability to, it takes away that human thing, because then somebody comes up to you, now you're scared, you know, and your heart isn't like in like a helping place. So I don't know, man. I don't know shit. But yeah, just wanted to think out loud. And yeah, if there's somebody that's feeling something similar, then maybe, you know, it's okay. We're both feeling it, and we're not just feeling it by ourselves. But yeah, just, I don't know. It made me scared. It made me sad. It made me really sad too. So, yeah, I'm okay. I want to say that, and I hope you are too. And yeah, I don't even know why I wanted to come say something, but I waited a few days. It takes me a couple of days sometimes to know how I feel about things. I'm not good at knowing like immediately how I feel about things. And I mean, I can know general things like fear or, you know, excitement. But sometimes like this, like other feelings, it takes me a little bit to get to them. And I don't even know if I got into them, but I just wanted to come and think out loud. And, yeah, love you guys, and be safe. And, yeah, I don't know what else to say. What else am I going to say? You know? Yeah, that's it, I think. So, yeah, have a good weekend, and love you guys. And, yeah, God help. Just, yeah, just we got to get stronger prayers, I think. You know, I don't know what it's like. It feels like I need those 93 octane prayers or something. You know, I don't know. All right, love y'all. Praise God, man. Peace.
All right. Okay. All right. Are we ready? 1, 2.
Well, Mama told me when I was young, come sit beside me, my only son, and listen closely to what I say. And if you do this, it'll help you some sunny day. I am. Oh, take your time, don't live too fast. Troubles will come, they will pass. You'll find a woman, oh yeah, and you'll find love. And don't forget, son, there is someone up above. And be a simple kind of man, or be something you love and understand. Baby, be a simple kind of man. Oh, won't you do this for me, son, if you can? Forget your lust for the rich man's gold. All that you need is in your soul. And you can do this, oh baby, if you try. All that I want for you, my son, is to be satisfied. And be a simple kind of man, or be something you love and understand. Baby, be a simple kind of man. Oh, won't you do this for me, son, if you can? Oh, yes, I can. Boy, don't you worry, you'll find yourself. Follow your heart and nothing else. play the same games you play. 'Cause I've been talking to the people that you call your friends, and it seems to me there's a means to an end. Don't care anymore. They don't care anymore. And as for me, I can sit here and buy my time. I've got nothing to lose if I speak my mind. Don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I don't care what you say. We never played by the same rules anyway. I won't be there anymore. So get out of my way. Let me by. I've got better things to do with my time. Don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. Don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I don't care now what you say. 'Cause every day I'm feeling fine with myself. And I don't care now what you say. I'll do alright by myself. 'Cause I know. Cause I remember all the times you tried so hard. You laughed in my face cause you held the cards. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. And I really ain't bothered what you think of me. All I wanted for you, just to let me be. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I don't care what you say. I never did believe you much anyway. I won't be there no more. So get out of my way. Let me by. I've got better things to do with my time. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, pirates, yes, they robbed I, sold I to the merchant ship. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. But my hand was made strong by the hand of Almighty. We forward in generation triumphantly. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? Redemption song, redemption song. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Have no fear of atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. Oh, how long shall it kill our prophet while we stand aside and look? Oh, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? It's all I'll ever have. Redemption song, redemption song. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Have no fear of atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. Oh, how long shall it kill our prophet while we stand aside and look? Oh, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? It's all I'll ever have. Redemption song, 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 redemption song.
See the light of those who find the world has passed them by. Too late to save a dream that's growing cold. We realize that fate must hide its face from those who try to see the distant sign.